Okay, now we are back because we had to replace our batteries in our microphone here. But again, I was telling y'all that we are here in Clarksville on Alberta Drive. And as you can see here behind me, this road is just completely washed out. There's thousands of people here in Clarksville that just cannot get back to their homes here this morning. Now, we also just got an update from Clarksville city officials who do say that more than 30 roads are washed out or flooded because of this historic rainfall that they got over the weekend. And since midweek last week, really, you can just tell just how bad this is. And even this is less than it was yesterday. Now, we did speak to one resident here who kind of told us that the water has receded a lot, but her home has been flooded 3 times in less than a year, 2 times in the last 2 months. February is the last time that they had that major flood during those snowstorms. So they were going through, winter weather and flooding on top of that. Of course, she did tell me that estimates for the February flood were around $200,000 to get everything fixed. So right now she's kind of pleading to everyone here in the area and of course the city officials to buy her out or do something to make sure that this, I guess, doesn't happen again, because how many times can you go through this before it just becomes too much? That is the big question here. And she's not the only one. Again, like I mentioned, thousands and thousands of people here in Clarksville are affected by this. Now, we do know that the school district does remain closed today, and it's unsure if they're going to stay closed tomorrow, but they do say that it's around 4,500 residents who may not be able to get to their homes or access their neighborhoods even because of this flooding. Now, this area is not a designated floodplain, according to some residents that I've talked to, so not quite sure what you can do about that, but it is definitely one of the areas that floods every time it rains hard. Now, I was mentioning before that this area actually got really a good amount of rain since about Wednesday last week when we had those thunderstorms roll in. 10 inches plus since midweek last week. Of course, this is something that we are continuing to follow. But I did want to talk a little bit more about just how this does affect a lot of people here, because, it's unsure if those people even down here at the end were even able to get to their homes. I do know that if you can see over here just like how high that water is, the deeper and deeper you go down here into I guess the road here, you can see that this mailbox is just completely underwater. And there's also like several different major roads closed off here this morning because of these recovery efforts. Now, we do know that there are several different shelters open. Now, Red Cross has set up a shelter at 211 Richview Road for some people to go to if they need to. YAPAC has also set up an evacuation center at its warehouse located at 1255 Paradise Hill. Now, we also know that there are, people servicing the area, like recovery efforts, kind of going around making sure that everyone's okay. But for many, a lot of these shelters are some people's only options right now. The Cumberland River, again, like I've mentioned multiple times, did crest overnight at around 50.7 feet. That's really, really high, definitely above the flood stage level. And it is expected to stay high, kind of throughout the week here. It was Sunday morning yesterday when a lot of these first responders had rescued, more than a dozen people from their homes here in Clarksville. And I did want to throw it out there, that again, this happened back in February. So one of the women that woman that I was talking to said that today they were supposed to start those repairs on her home. However, obviously now that they're back at it, she still has a foot of water in her basement. So, it's just devastating truly to kind of go and deal with this again. Now, like I was mentioning before, the school district is closed today, so they do not have any schools here school in Clarksville or the surrounding area. This is Montgomery County. We were told by city officials that more than 30 roads are shut down due to flooding. So a lot of people, again, like I've mentioned all morning, cannot get to their homes. They can't get to their neighborhoods. You just have to think about just how devastating this is. But city officials do say that they are monitoring these conditions closely. They're seeing what they can do to, make sure that, because we are in April, of course, April showers bring May flowers, but that does mean that there's going to be a lot more rain, possibly coming over the next few months. And so they're going to try to figure out how they can mitigate this flooding issue here. But they're also working to keep those shelters pretty stocked up with supplies. Now, they are urging a lot of people to have patience, and then they're also asking people to avoid these flooded areas for their own safety. Of course, again, this is just completely devastating. I couldn't imagine what a lot of people are going through out here in Clarksville, but this is something that we're going to continue to monitor closely and give you guys all the updates as we get them ourselves. Of course, I want to reiterate that it's not just one or two people here in Clarksville that are affected by these floods. It's thousands of people. The school district is estimating around 4,500 people are displaced from their homes here. And my AirPod just fell out. But we're, again, going to keep monitoring this and give you guys the updates as we get them ourselves.